Hi, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 4 professional formulas that will help with these 4 main hair color issues. So those main issues being how to cover gray effectively while still avoiding reddish and unwanted warm tones at the roots. Next is when you have just way too many warm tones in your blonde. It starts to look yellow, it starts to look dull. How to prevent this and how to treat this. The other major hair issue I see is when you have a pocket of color that's just a little bit too orange. It's not the whole head, it's not all of your highlights. There's just like pieces and pockets of unwanted warmth that you don't want there, and every time that you either add an all-over toner or use a purple shampoo, it dulls out your highlights and does nothing to that spot. And then the last issue is when you want just a beautiful, balanced, ashy brown hair color result. All right, let's start with how to get that beautiful mushroomy brown color. We see this all the time, and I think the reason why this seems so attainable and so easy is because it is brown. And I think we attribute difficult colors when it pertains to blonde, but we just see this like beautiful mushroomy brown and we're like, why can I get this? Why can't I just find an ashy brown or tone the color I have now to this ashy color? And the simple reason why this color is difficult is because you have to be at least a level 7 or an 8 in order to get this type of tone. So if you're like a medium to dark brunette and you want to stay at that level, you just want to change the tone, you actually always have to lift the hair in order to add tone. Otherwise, you always have to tone darker than where you currently are. But that is the reason why. Your hair needs to be light enough to be able to receive those tones. All right, next is when you have that little pocket of orange, that dreaded spot. This can be in more than one area, could be just one, but what I'm talking about is not highlights that are overall all orangey. This is mainly on the base color and not on the highlights. And so a big issue I see is trying to apply a toner all over, and then what ends up happening is you're masking or covering your highlights, and then that trouble area is still there. So for this issue, you're actually going to have to troubleshoot that area. So it means mixing up a formula and applying only to the areas where you see this color as opposed to applying all over. The reason for that is you need a toner that is intense enough to combat those warm tones, and any toner that is strong enough to do that will just obliterate your highlights. And for this, one of the best shades for this is Redken shadesEQ in 07M. It's a very ashy color and can be very dull if just applied all over. It's great mixed with other colors, but for this specific issue I'm talking about, it's great just on its own. So once again, you are going to apply this on the areas that are needed throughout the head, process the same amount of time, shampoo and condition as usually. All right, and the last one is when you're blonde and the highlights or the blonde area in your hair just looks a little yellow or a little dull and you're looking to liven it up. Obviously, there can be many variations of this. The formulation I'm sharing here today is one that I feel like it is a very foolproof, meaning you're not going to overly darken the hair, you're not going to add way too much ash. It's enough. It's a great starting point for anyone that's just not in love with their blonde. If this toner doesn't work on your hair color, it means that your hair is actually still too dark for this. For at home, this is actually a great way to test whether or not your hair is light enough. And now, do I recommend just throwing toners on your hair to like test? No, but if you're going to be applying lightener to your hair anyway, oftentimes you don't need the lightener, all you need is a toner. So I actually would rather you work backwards, try the toner. If that doesn't work, then you know you have to lift your hair further. But the toner is far less damage or no damage really than compared to, of course, a lightening session, especially on hair that's already treated. So if this toner formulation works for you, amazing. If it doesn't, you most likely need your hair to be lighter. If you want more of that weedy blonde and not so bright, you're okay with the more muted tones, going down one level on both of these colors. So a mix of 09P and 08GI is a very beautifully balanced. It gives you that Taylor Swift's hair color always comes to mind. It's like, it's definitely blonde, but it's not that bright blonde. It's very like subtle and understated. All right, I don't want to overwhelm you and give you way too many formulas. The whole point of this video was if you're having one of these main hair color issues where you can just come to this video and get a quick answer to help you treat this issue. So I hope you found this video helpful. These issues are something that typically comes up a lot in my virtual consults, and when I keep seeing sort of similar issues, I like to make a video for you guys to hopefully help the masses. And if you still feel like you need help or you would like a virtual consult with me, I always leave the information on how to book that down below. All right, thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.